Hello, my noble band of outlaws, Outlaw Samurai, coming at you live with a video. Well, it's time for the review of the Byakko in Crimson Katana. As usual, I'll start with Cult of Athena specs and then move on to my own. This is the introduction. So, description portion of the video. This is the second generation of the Byakko Katana, apparently, because Matthew Easton did a review of the first gen, and they upgraded it based off of what he had to say. In Japanese folklore, a tiger that lives for 500 years of age turns white and transforms into a powerful yokai spirit called the Byakko, the celestial tiger of the west with the power to direct both tempestuous winds and beasts to its will. This katana from Balaur arms is its martial inspiration from the tiger, an example to all warriors for its perfect and peerless match of speed, grace, sheer muscle power, and unflinching fierceness. A mirror of the samurai spirit, legendary actor Toshiro Mifune would take inspiration from the tiger for his predator-like movements coupled with unblinking, threatening stare to create an air of tense danger when playing a skilled samurai or ronin. Like its tiger namesake, a strike from a sword such as this is both a swift and decisive blow that commands finality to mortality. The fittings of this katana apply walk that line between ornamentation that demands professional respect and the practical materials and components needed for a samurai sword of war. The blade is forged from T10 high carbon steel, which has been clay tempered in the traditional manner, as can be seen in its vibrant and genuine hamon in the Togari style. The blade was painstakingly polished to a mere sheen to fully bring out the beauty of the steel and the rippling hamon of a hardened, wear-resistant steel edge. The blade has Niku, which means it has a more convex, stronger edge, shaping behind it to ensure that it is more durable and resistant to chipping and damage than a flat edge. The blade has no bohea groove to ensure that it strikes with the additional mass needed to deliver maximum force to the cut. Such swords were popular in times of war when a durable, hard-hitting blade was desired for battle against opponents wearing thick cloth and armor. Additionally, the blade has a genuine geometric Yukote style tip, which we found out in the unboxing. Geometric planes serve to reinforce the tip for thrusting and puncturing into the weaker points of an opponent's armored defense. This is a feature that is often overlooked in many other katana, which instead simulate this feature using differential polishing. Not gonna lie, that is very factual. The blade has been set into a hilt that is a suba of practical and robust stainless steel with an antique iron embellished in gold and silver detailing, which bears the features of a stalking tiger on one side and its prey on the other, the rabbit and the tiger. Its fuchi collar and kashira pommel are likewise of antique stainless steel. The habaki is cast from detailed brass and offset with seppa of red copper, which I very much like. The hardwood suka grip has panels of genuine ray skin which are bound in practical and tight katemaki battle wrap. Very good use of technical terms here. Of artificial silk. Now I know what artificial silk feels like. I always assumed it was cotton. Ito, which is finished with a pair of brass tiger manuki beneath the folds. The sword is paired with a scabbard of well-carved wood, which is finished with a textured lacquer that is more resistant to scuffs and scratches than the high-gloss lacquer seen on many other katana, the Ishime lacquer. The koiguchi, korigata, and kojiri components are all crafted from genuine and finely polished buffalo horn, which is very nice and very well appreciated for a practitioner. And they serve their purpose of helping to prevent the saya scabbard from splitting, and it's seen the sagyo cord is of matching silk and a cloth katana bag for storage or transport is included. Please note in the video section, okay, that's like many other production katana, small light scuffs or scratches maybe because on the blade. And then it's just some notes of its own. So that is the Cult of Athena thing. And I shall now turn it over to Future Outlaw for the specs. Thank you, Past Outlaw. Future Outlaw here for the specs. Now, the specs of this blade are an overall length of 41 5/8 inches. Blade length is 31 1/8, weight 2 pounds 10 ounces. Width is 32.46 millimeters wide, thickness 7.3 to 5 millimeters, pommel none, point of balance 6 inches, grip length is 10, T10 high carbon steel, Balaur arms in China. Now, as I cannot find my calipers at the moment, I can't do the thickness measurements aside from what I have available. So we will now see overall length, first of all. Overall length in the scabbard is 42 inches. Overall length outside of scabbard (41.5 inches), so just slightly longer than what it says on the website. Okay. Now, blade length is 30 1/8 inches. I don't know if Balaur Arms measured this or not, but I'm getting a 29-inch blade at the Habaki. 30-inch past the Habaki. So the Nagasa is actually 29 inches, an inch and an eighth shorter than what is advertised. The width is 32.46 millimeters at the Habaki. I measure in American units 1 1/4 inches wide at the Habaki, and up at the Yukote line, a solid 1 inch wide. Meaning that it has a 1/4 of an inch distal taper thinning out along the edge profile. Thickness at the Habaki is just shy of a 1/4 of an inch, and up here at the Kisaki is actually down here at the Habaki appears to be 3/8 of an inch, and it tapers to a 1/4 of an inch at the Yukote line. So in terms of actual distal taper, I want to say that it has about a 1/16 distal taper over the entire length, over the entirety of the spine. Again, making this a very nice and nimble blade. Length of the grip is 10 1/4 inches. Goddamn. I measure with the full Kisaki 11.5. So the grip's a little longer than what it says on the thing, and the blade's a little shorter. Not looking too good in terms of matching the specs here, Kult of Athena. Now, the price of this sword is $378 even. And that is what I will be basically basing my review on. But let's cut to future past something at this point outlaw for the disassembly of the blade. Okay, so I decided to do this a little bit out of order. This is going to be me taking this Balaur Arms Katana apart at the moment. Now, whether this is future outlaw or past outlaw is still up for debate. So, about a third of the dudes known to probably shouldn't spare tins like this lying around. They're good to put the Makugi pegs in so they don't roll away and lose them. Now the Makugi pegs are kind of situated underneath the Ito wrap ever so slightly. This is able to do the whole bumping the arm thing. I am genuinely surprised. I did not think it would actually do the whole bump the arm thing. Naturally, the Suba wants to be a bit difficult, but not too difficult, it would seem. And as we always do, we will start with the Suka core, and I will get a good look at it. Ooh, that's nice. Now, obviously, these are panels of Samegawa, but look at that hole for the Nakago. Very nice. And the Suka itself is slimmed so nicely. Barely any little bits and barely any little bits and little grinder shavings in here. In fact, it all came out with a couple of taps. Can we take a look at this gorgeous, deep copper seppa? Ooh. Ooh, that's nice. That's a rich, deep copper. Tiger. And rabbit. Now we get to the Fushira, and I wish you could feel like how heavy this is. This is a heavy piece in terms of a Kashira. Well, not Kashira, Fushira. Just so high quality. Good, sturdy piece. I like. Next, we'll move on to the Nakago. Just a moment. I'm back, so I'm gonna have to do more editing. But in any case, let's look at the Nakago. And the Habaki is also quite nice. But this Nakago is also very well done. The lines are very clean. There's no excess grinding marks. The Hamachi and Mumachi, however, are not even with each other. But I wouldn't expect them to be perfectly even on a blade of this price range. which I still need to look up the price again for. Oh, yes. This Nikago had time put into it. You can tell. They took the time to take, I want to say, 19% of the burr off. There's still just a little bit of a burr on the Nikago holes, on the Makugiona, but not enough to really affect the Makugi pegs coming in and out. The Nikago was also signed by the smith that forged this blade. And that is an actual engraved signature. That's not just laser etched. That has dimension and depth. Overall, taking the sword apart, which I'm going to say just came apart flawlessly. But the real question is whether it goes back together flawlessly. Obaki? Seppa. Tiger on the front. Seppa. Ushira. And Sugakor. Alright. So I'm going to pause this so it doesn't become too long. Okay, so after a lot of intensive persuasion, everything is back together. All that's left is to place the Makugi pegs back in place. There we go. Everything is solid, tight, and back in its proper place. So, let's go back to the other segments of Outlaw, and hopefully this doesn't turn into a 50-minute video. Thank you, all my past incarnations of Outlaw. So many versions of Outlaw in this video. Something I did neglect in the previous video is I did not get the weight of the sword. It was 2 pounds 10 ounces according to the website. And my sword is a whole 2 ounces lighter. 2 and 1/8 ounces lighter than what it said on the website. So, overall, the these are very minor inconveniences. These are very minor things that overall don't really affect the overall function of the blade. It's just they are very much noticeable when you take a deeper look. Now, as we can see here, if I just grab the flashlight for a moment, you see the hardened pattern. This is a Torgi style, as I'm aware now. Now, I may attempt to do some close-up pictures of the hardened and put them in. If I do attempt them, they'll be right here. Some close-up pictures of this. But overall, what do I think of this sword? Well, for for $378 flat out before shipping and all that, you don't get a bad sword. Honestly, you get a much more historically accurate sword than most people would realize. You get a geometric Yukote, a geometric Shinogi G, which is the line right here. Basically where the bevel stops, where the edge bevel stops and the spine bevel begins. Not only that, but this sword overall is very nice. It's very nimble and light. Quick, and it's quick in terms of cutting and easy to retrieve from a full-powered swing. Also, point of balance, I neglected to get that as well. From the habaki to where my finger is, four and a quarter inches. Again, I think these measurements come from Balaur arms themselves, and since they're usually a European style blade company, I don't think they quite understand how to measure a Japanese sword in terms of where its measurements begin and end. I'm gonna have to polish this thing. But in any case, what do I think of this sword? Well, I think it's an exceptional blade for the money. However, there are a few negatives. For one, while I do find the castings to be relatively nice, they're not as crisp as Hanwei. On my Hanwei Raptor, which is around the same price point as this sword, I can make out they have individual little lines on each of the feathers, and it's so very detailed and crisp. And while I can make out good detailing on this, the tiger, honestly, there's no real detail in the fur aside from the stripes, and the paw is kind of muddy. But the Ito is still tight. Nothing has come loose in me taking the sword apart and putting it back together. I very much love these nice red copper seppa. I think they add a brilliant addition to the blade. Its overall look. And again, it handles so nice. This is such a well-balanced blade. And really, the cons that I'm saying are very minute and don't affect the way the sword is going to be used. Overall, I can't find any fault with this blade. It even came satisfactory sharp. It came sharp enough to please me. Alright? And we've seen how sharp edges have to be in order to please me. Alright? I find that to be quite satisfactory. And this, again, is out of the box sharpness and after the cutting video, where not only did I hit the damn stand with this thing, I also cut directly through Gatorade bottle tops, bringing the blade directly down. Now, granted, I did not cut anything too excessive. I didn't cut any bamboo or pipe or PVC piping or the likes of that, or even carpet rolls. And honestly, I had bamboo on hand. I have bamboo on hand right now. I just don't have it soaked. Also, the fit is very nice. I'm giving it a good bit of a shake. And it's not coming out until then. But also, it pushes out so easily with my thumb. And returning it to the saya is equally as effortless. And listen to this. It barely has any kind of hiccups. It goes in and out of the scabbard like it's riding on rails. Not to mention the fact that not to mention for sub $600, you're getting also a rattan, sub even $400 really, you're getting a rattan wrap that also adds stability and reinforcement to the saya. You're getting genuine buffalo horn fittings that are usually only reserved for $400 swords and up. And you are getting good quality fittings on the blade for the money. I mean, when I took this sword apart, you saw how impressed I was with the Fushira alone, how nice and heavy it was. Overall, I cannot find any real fault with this sword. It is a perfect, in my opinion, mid-budget to low-tier, high-budget sword for a beginner to get into swordsmanship with. I would give this sword, for the people who I believe should use this sword, are more experienced swordsmen, because it is differentially hardened. But if you're going to give an inexperienced swordsman a differentially hardened blade, I feel like this would be a good starter position for differentially hardened swords. Not to mention the fact that it does come bussin' sharp. Alright? I need to re-emphasize this. I did not put this to the work sharp at all. This is factory edge. Okay, Balaur Arms, for a company that usually does medieval swords, for releasing a relatively new line of katanas, I believe they have only started introducing them this year, is already, in my opinion, becoming a good competitor sword brand to the likes of, honestly, Murasame. Now, that's to say I've never had a Murasame blade, but I've seen Murasames be cut with before. The Murasame T10s from Samurai Bird. And Murasame is the only brand that I know of that is well liked in our YouTube sword community and has a lot of followers. Gargoyle, Samurai Bird, JBS Bladecraft. Balaur Arms may soon become a top competitor, entering into the same brackets as the likes of Dragon King, Lue Sword, Sino Sword, and Hanwei. If they keep the quality that they have given me, you see how hard it is for me to speak. I have just so much good stuff to say about this. If they keep the quality of their blades as they are now, I have every confidence that they will soon become a company that can rival the likes of the Hanweis, the Dragon Kings, the Lue Swords, all of them. But I've prattled on long enough. Basically, in the foolish conclusion, do I think this sword is worth $378? No. Do I think this sword could easily be sold for around the $400, $450, possibly $470 mark? Yes. You are just getting that good of a deal for the money. Alright? I'm not sponsored by Cult of Athena or Balaur Arms. Y'all know that if I like a sword, I'm going to sing its praises. If I don't like a sword, it's going to get trashed. Alright? For all the things I said about my Hanwei and the inexcusable fit and finishes that I had for my Raptors, alright? I can live with a sloppy Suka or subpar fittings, because at the end of the day, the fittings and the Suka core, they're the easiest to replace. I can make my own Suka core. I don't need a good Suka core on a sword. I can buy a cheap blade and put a better Suka core than the factory made on it myself. Alright? But what I can't do right now at my current ability level is manufacture good blades. And that's the benefit of a katana. You can have cheap ass fittings, but a damn good blade. And that's what I'm mainly judging here, and this is a damn good blade. But that's my conclusion. If you're going to buy someone their first differentially hardened blade, and you want to give and you have the money, or you yourself are looking for your first differentially hardened T10 blade, I can recommend the Balaur Arms Byakko Katana. Whether it's in crimson or its original golden brown coloration pattern. But in any case, my noble band of outlaws, outlaw samurai tells all y'all be crazy rednecks, be safe using your weapons, and I have editing to do, and I really hope this hasn't turned into a 30+ minute video.